Today on Motion, I'm back on Catalina Island to hit the Trans-Catalina Trail, a 37-mile trek around, over, and through the island. It's a hike that is truly beauty.
This is nice.
In the beast. I'm doing it light, and I'm doing it alone. Well, almost.
Things are huge.
It's a look at a side of Catalina few ever see, and a one with surprises around every corner.
Get ready to experience the wild side of Catalina Island, coming up next on Motion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. As an adventurer and mountain guide, I love leading clients into wild places. Now I'm taking people and cameras across America and the world. Opening eyes and minds to the magic of getting outdoors. I'm Greg Aiello, and this is Motion. Most people who travel to Catalina visit Avalon, the historic city on the southeast coast and the largest of the two towns on the island. And while this quaint city is a great place for that special vacation or a relaxing getaway, I knew I had to discover the hidden gems you can only find on Catalina's wild side. And there's no better way to do that than by hiking the Trans-Catalina Trail, or the TCT, the 37-mile trail that stretches from one end of the island to the other. Day one is taking me to Blackjack Campground, where I'll spend the first night, and it's the only night on this trip that I won't be on the coast. Now, in addition to going solo on this hike, I'm also trying to go ultralight, carrying only necessary food, water, and gear, and then making that gear as light as possible. Along with a med kit and sleeping bag, here's some of the lightweight gear I always like to bring on any backpacking trip. For my tent, I found one that doubles as a rain poncho and only weighs 8 ounces. For this trip, I left the stakes and pole at home to save even more weight. How do I put it up? I'll show you later. You're going to need a water bottle, and this one is lightweight and collapsible for better storage. You gotta have sunscreen, and in stick form is lightweight, lasts long, and packs easily. I like to have a full-size knife with me. This baladeo has a serrated section and weighs in at less than 1.5 ounces. Because I'm shooting with several cameras and sometimes need to make repairs, this multi-tool can really come in handy and weighs only 2.2 ounces. A non-essential item, but one I like to bring for spotting wildlife, is this lightweight monocular that weighs only 1 ounce. And of course, oral hygiene is very important, so I've cut part of the handle off my toothbrush to save a little more weight.
Yeah, got a nice little cloud cover today. This is, I think heat is probably the thing you have to deal with, which is great because if you're trying to be as ultralight as you can, that's what's going to help you. You know, with hot weather comes the need for less sleeping bag, less clothes, less substantial shelter, and all these things can help you shave pounds out of your backpack. And because there's a couple places to eat along the way, you can drop food. So I gotta say, this trail, in my mind anyway, is really conducive to practicing stripping weight out of your pack and feeling what that feels like. I'm shooting a television show with all the lenses and batteries and gear that I have. I'm still about 25 pounds with all my food, all my gear, and everything. So it feels very comfortable on my back right now, and I think it's going to be one of the easier 5-day trips I've ever done.
Turns out I spoke too soon. The hike quickly turns into a very warm, steep climb. There are reminders all around that Catalina is a semi-arid island. And even though I'm doing this hike in winter, the bright sun and lack of shade make the Trans-Catalina Trail tougher than it looks.
Okay, well, I just hit the main junction of the TCT. I'm way up on the ridge now. From my vantage point here, it doesn't look like I can get too much higher. And there's a little breeze blowing. It feels good to be on the top.
You need to be aware that about half the TCT follows portions of the island's service roads, so you will contend with occasional traffic and see up close some of the island's infrastructure. I'm finally able to get off the road and onto some single track, and it didn't take long before I ran into a reminder that this island is home to more than just people.
Okay, you can see I'm coming up to a large fence that they use to keep the bison out from wandering down toward Avalon. And just make sure that you replace the chain back when you're done so they don't wander through. All right, I'm going into buffalo zone.
That's right, buffalo. A couple of dozen bison were shipped here back in 1924 to shoot a western called The Vanishing American. Instead of taking the animals back to the mainland, the filmmakers left them behind. And today, about 150 bison from those originally left here roam the wide open hillsides of Catalina.
You can tell right here, this is a bed that's just been cleared out by a bison. Bison dung all over the place, and just a big flattened out area where a pretty sizey animal could spread out and lay down. This is right off the trail too, so make sure when you see places with potential shade like this, these animals will come in here and bust stuff up and make a nest. And if they're sleeping and you come up on them, maybe where you get into a little bit of trouble. So something to think about.
Back on the trail, this little getaway is quickly turning into hard work. Loose rock, steep climbs, and unrelenting sun are making for a very tough slog, feeling just like a hot hike in the desert.
It's winter here on Catalina Island. It's February, and I just had to put about a third of my bottle on my head to cool down because I was just feeling I don't know, just getting to some early stages of heat exhaustion at least. And so this little bush I found was just blocking out enough sun to sort of crouch down and get out of the sun for a little bit, which I felt was time to do for sure. Starting to feel a little wacky and just super flushed. Wow, it was hot.
Since I was already running a little hot, the difficulties of the hike and the design of the trail leads to a little frustration and venting.
Yeah, it's difficult. This first section so far between Avalon and the first camp, Blackjack Camp. I gotta say, not a huge fan of the trail as it's been designed through here. This trail should be circumnavigating this island along the remote sections, cliff hanging, and making an exciting version of this trail, making me work extra distance just to feel like I'm getting away from the road when I'd rather just walk the road and be done with it. You're making me walk 2 extra miles just to get me 1/8 of a mile away from the road that I can still see the whole time.
Letting off a little steam and putting some more mileage in on the trail helps cool me down a little. But arriving at Blackjack Camp gave me a whole new perspective.
You know, a little rough start with all the roads and really hot desert portions, but again, this is a nice little campsite. The rest of them are going to be all in the ocean, so the work's always worth it. There's always going to be the low points and the high points of each trip, and I think, hoping that I got through a good chunk of the low points. We'll see when people start trickling in. For now, I'm going to empty my pack out, start putting up my tent, and maybe make a little dinner.
I set up my tent using one of my walking sticks as the center support pole. To secure the corners, I used the dead man technique of running a stick through the tie-down strings and then pulling the corners tight and securing them with rocks. No poles and no stakes means a lighter overall backpack. When it comes to dinner, traveling light means fast and easy. So top ramen is one of my go-to meals.
Oh, so good.
I was feeling a little bit whiny on the trail today, getting overheated. Ultimately, that comes down to my own, wintertime physicality right now. I put on a few pounds during the holidays, like a lot of folks do, and I hadn't started a strong training regimen before this trip, so I kind of came off the couch and it humbled me. I'm thinking, I hike the Sierra all the time in high mountains and things, and this trail's formidable for what it is. There's not a lot of shade. It's hot. It's steep, and it's a legit place to train and get a solid workout. So at the end of the day, I'm healthy. I'm walking on a beautiful island, 22 miles off the coast of California and Los Angeles, and I'm all by myself out here. So, all in all, this is a great day. Beautiful day. Up next, it's a close call when a Catalina bison wanders right into my camp. Whoa. And a tasty surprise waits after a long day on the trail when motion returns. I'm on Catalina Island doing an ultralight solo hike on the Trans-Catalina Trail. It's day 2, and today I'm heading from Blackjack Camp in the interior of the island to Little Harbor on the western coast. I've got a big day ahead of me to get to camp tonight, 9 miles over some very steep terrain.
All right, well, just minutes out of Blackjack Camp, we crest out with this amazing view toward the west end of Catalina. And it just has that appearance of just getting more and more raw. And I can see down toward Little Harbor where I'm going to be camping tonight. And then on the skyline behind me here is the airport. Airport in the sky. And I purposely ate a very light breakfast so I'd be hungry for lunch. I'm going to stop there and grab a bite and then downhill cruise.
It's another warm day with temps in the 70s, but it's a fairly easy hike from Blackjack to Airport in the Sky. Located 10 miles northwest of Avalon, Airport in the Sky sits at 1,600 feet above sea level and is a popular destination for private pilots, day tourists, and hikers.
All right, Joan, just stopped for lunch at Airport in the Sky. I make a mean tuna melt here, I can say. I'm just going to fuel up, get a little bit more water, continue my trip down to Little Harbor tonight. Again, on a trip like this, it's nice to know you don't have to pack that food for lunch. If you really think about all the food you're going to be eating, you got this lunch handled, maybe dinner at Two Harbors day after tomorrow. So really look at the itinerary, see what you want to do, where you want to eat, and pack accordingly.
It's about 5 miles from Airport in the Sky to Little Harbor, mostly downhill. The closer to the coast I get, the more I like it, for both cooler temps and stunning views.
You can see down below me here, this is Little Harbor. You can see the campground. Looks like a nice little place. Looking forward to getting down there. What a difference just dropping down halfway. I mean, this is the first time on the trip where I've actually felt cool. Instead of just sweating and baking in the sun, drinking all my water, I can actually... This is nice right now. I mean, it's got to be a good 10 degrees cooler.
Like Blackjack, Little Harbor Camp is clean and well maintained. It's also a welcome sight after all that downhill hiking.
You can see the campsites line right up to the beach. See some people out there hanging out in the sand. Shirts off. It's a beautiful day down here in the 70s. So I think I'm going to set up a little bit and then maybe kick my shoes off and go put my tootsies in the sand because the dogs are barking from all that trail beating. Thought someone left something on my table, and they did, but it was actually for me. I set this trip up through Catalina Backcountry. Deanna, who runs that business, which is a really cool business. It facilitates all of your logistics along the way of this trip, depending on how you want to do it. And Deanna left me some kind of a strange drink, and it looks good. It's cold, ice cold too. It's got ice in it. And it says, "Hope you enjoyed Blackjack Camp. Enjoy the juice, cold pressed tangerine, carrot, and mint." And a form that I forgot to sign too. What? Oh my God, that is service. Thank you, Deanna. Oh my God.
After setting up for the night, a large bison roamed right into my campsite. While I take cover behind a sturdy palm tree, another camper who I don't even know walks right up to the grazing bison, which, in the world of common sense, is a really bad idea.
Whoa.
Every year, hikers and campers are injured by these animals, some very seriously. Never approach a bison under any circumstances, and if they approach you, use caution and find something big to put between you and a potential helicopter flight to the hospital. Looking back at the day and parts of the trail that I might have been cursing because they were so steep or rocky or whatever, you know, it's really that physicality, it's that work, that effort that you put in that really makes the day great. Those are the reasons why a lot of us do these kind of trips, why we backpack, you know. It's the can I do it? It's the can I physically make it? That's a big part of it. And every day that gets answered is another day that your confidence grows and your appreciation grows, and ultimately those are the things that make a successful adventure. It's day 3 on our motion solo hike on the Trans-Catalina Trail. I wake at Little Harbor Campground to cloud cover and cooler temps, a stark contrast to the previous 2 days. Today, I'm hiking from Little Harbor to Two Harbors in the northern portion of the island. This stretch of the TCT is about 6 miles long and has some of the tougher climbs on the trail. The marine layer above promises to help keep the temps cool for this part of my journey. This section of the Trans-Catalina Trail has spectacular views that today are somewhat obscured by the clouds. However, as I slog up the trail, I'm more than happy to trade scenery for comfort. I quickly hit one of the steeper ascents, which, like most others on the trail, has no switchbacks. Just a grueling, straightforward, butt-kicking climb. The cool and cloudy conditions are a godsend.
But man, under these steep hiking conditions, I'll take this all day. There's maybe an 8-mile-an-hour breeze blowing, nice and cool off the Pacific. Cloud decks right overhead. We'll see what's gonna happen with visibility on the mountain. It doesn't, yeah, I mean, it's pretty sucked in up there.
On this part of the TCT, moving forward means going up. So up I go. And the farther I climb, the colder and windier it gets.
24 hours ago, I was ducking under bushes, hiding from heat exhaustion, and now I'm getting ready to strip this pack off so I can get some layers, because it is blowing cold right now out of the west.
It's true that what goes up must come down, and coming down on this loose, rocky trail with no switchbacks is tough. But as the trail eases up, so does the weather.
Ah, the sun is finally breaking on this side. You can see I've just popped out above the town of Two Harbors, where you can actually see how close it came to separating the island right here. I can see the ocean on the west side, and on the east side, just not very far. It looks like maybe an eighth of a mile, maybe a quarter mile across. Looks like some yachts parked out here. It's probably pretty fancy, but they're gonna get a whiff of me right now. Fancy or no, I'm coming in for a fish taco.
Besides Avalon, Two Harbors is the only other town on Catalina. Located on the island's isthmus, it's a cool little outpost with the emphasis on little. It's home to one general store, one restaurant, and a one-room schoolhouse. But it does have something I could really use about now.
I just had a little bit of lunch, picked up some supplies at the general store, and I found out there were some hot showers in town here. So you can actually go get some change at the general store, get some quarters, and then there's a little coin-op shower in here. Yes. Well, that is definitely worth all 8 of those quarters. 3 minutes, so I gotta go.
Another spectacular end to a long day as the sun sets over the Pacific. The Trans-Catalina Trail is tough, but the rewards at the end of each day have been worth it. Up next, my Catalina solo hike ends at a place where the rugged coastline meets green fields, and one more furry friend, when motion returns. My final day solo hiking across Catalina Island starts with another beautiful setting. I spent last night at Two Harbors Camp, which is located about a quarter mile outside of town. Two Harbors Camp has sites for tent camping and tent cabin rentals for those who like to rough it in style. It's great to have a town like Two Harbors on the north end of the Trans-Catalina Trail. You can pick up supplies, catch a boat back to Avalon, take a quick shower, or even down a power breakfast before jumping back on the trail. Having restaurants or snack bars along the way means less food in the pack, which cuts down on weight. With a delicious omelet down the hatch, it's time to begin the last leg of my trip. The 7-mile trek from Two Harbors to Parsons Landing on Catalina's North Shore. At this point of the trip, I'm really starting to hit my stride, enjoying the solitude and ease of going ultralight with my pack.
So the bottom line for ultralight is really finding the balance, the absolute critical balance of what you can't live without, and trying to strip everything out of your pack that you just don't absolutely need, and then taking everything that you feel you do need and finding the absolute lightest version of that. That's pretty much the quest.
Even with a light pack, this is a hard trek with unrelenting climbs and descents, and my feet are letting me know it. One thing I've learned over the years, your feet don't lie. So the first thing I do when reaching Parsons Landing is to give them a quick soak in the cool waters of the Pacific. Exploring this rugged coastline is amazing. As I explored the cliffs and shores of this part of Catalina, I find someone else who has the same idea.
This shot right here pretty much sums up the Trans-Catalina Trail. You get nice weather, beautiful camp beaches, and wild bison running around, grazing right behind you. Oh man, I just feel really fortunate.
The Trans-Catalina Trail is tough work, but worth every step. To learn more about planning your trip to Catalina, visit livewellnetwork.com and click on Motion.
There's something important that I always get out of coming out into nature by myself. Each trip is sort of an affirmation of that realization, which is I belong out here, and that we all belong out here. And these places are so inviting to those who take the time and effort to experience them on an intimate level. I'm becoming more and more grateful to do what my heart and what my mind yearn to do, which is be in these beautiful, natural, wild places.